Hey everybody, what is up? Today we're going to be taking a look at Slay the Spire, a digital collectible card game that's also a roguelike. And not only that, but it's single player. So a single player card collecting roguelike. How does that actually work? Well, if you've played Faster Than Light, or FTL, it works something like that. You have a randomized board that you move from down to up instead of from left to right. And while there is no urgency in how long you spend in one particular area, with like some kind of danger zone looming behind you, you just go from point to point, which are all randomly generated. It can be a monster encounter, it can be a random encounter, which could be anything from buffs, debuffs, new artifacts, new items, new cards, to bonfires that let you restore your health or upgrade one of the cards that are currently in your collection, upgrading their power or their usage or some other kind of utility stat on them. And as I mentioned, you start at the bottom and you work your way towards the top. Well, at the top is a boss battle, and there's always going to be a boss battle, and they're pretty tough. But once you beat that boss battle, you move on to the next act, which has another set of randomized encounters that also ends in another boss battle. And then that's where the card collecting comes into play. Because the way you play the game, the way you tackle the monsters and move from point to point, is a mix between your standard turn-based RPG and something straight out of Hearthstone. Every turn that you have in this turn-based battle, you'll have a set amount of energy to use, and every card in your deck has a certain amount of energy that is required to use them. And you will use this energy to attack the enemy and do damage, to buff yourself and defend against enemy attacks, to debuff the enemy, making them weaker or more susceptible to damage, and even special powers that give you abilities or passive abilities that last the entire match. And as you conquer encounters, your deck size and the variety of cards that you have to work with will continually expand, giving you access to more powerful cards that may have one-off downsides to them. Like, for example, you use a card, it gives you a permanent buff for the rest of the match, but you can't use that card anymore until the next match, that kind of thing. And of the two characters that I played with, depending on which character you play as determines which cards you have access to and the cards that you can unlock. So you have basically your red character and your green character, aka your red cards and your green cards. They don't really have too much of a fundamental difference other than, say, maybe the difference between two different kinds of decks in, say, Hearthstone. Please correct me if I am wrong, though. The game is in early access, so expect a little bit of that missing polish, but in terms of core content, you're looking at over 100 cards for each of the two characters. You're looking at over 50 different encounters that you can find on the randomized board. You're looking at over 100 different items that you can find, including artifacts. So even in its early access state, I would say the replayability is definitely there. And then when it comes to the graphics and audio, I find they're very well done. The graphics themselves kind of have this hand-drawn quality to them. It is a little bit cartoony in a way, so hopefully that doesn't put you off, but it is very well done and really helps to set the atmosphere and the mood of most of the encounters that you come across. And the same can be said for the audio. Both the sound effects and the music do their job in more or less cementing you in the game that you're playing. I wouldn't quite say it's super immersive, but it's not terrible either. I would say, though, that the best part of this little indie game, though, is the fact that it's being updated nearly every week. And every week you're getting some forms of new content, as well as a bunch of fixes and bugs as they continue their early access development. So for $15 in its early access state, is it currently worth your dime? I would say yes, it is. There's a reason why this game has at least a few thousand viewers every time I've seen it on Twitch. It's engaging. It even has Twitch integration, where your viewers can vote on certain things during a battle, which is cool in and of itself. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable to watch when you can interact with a largely single-player game. And because this game is still in development, there's still a lot more content and changes and additions and fixes and revisions to come. And I've always liked games like this anyway, with that roguelike and random gameplay loop that just keeps you coming back more and more, just like FTL did back in the day. But unlike FTL, in this game, when you fail, you still get that sense of progression, like you're making progress towards that next big thing. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Slay the Spire. Have you seen other streamers play it? And if you enjoyed this video, then you know what buttons down below to press to make me happy as a YouTuber. Thank you very much for watching. Remember folks, never stop gaming, and I will catch you next time. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be extra special.